Welcome back to Copperhead Customs. Today we are back on this, our 1948 6-inch roof topped stubby little Bedford. So we've got a fair bit happening, so stick around if you want to see what we get up to. Yes, so welcome back to some 48 Bedford action. So in the last episode you would have seen we got our cab mounted with its pearl clear coat back onto our shortened chassis, which is now painted. This is a HQ WB style chassis. It's had 200mm cut off the back, 200mm cut from the front, and 580mm or 2 foot cut from the center. And as you can see, it is a tiny little thing. We also went and painted our little 6-cylinder motor in this gorgeous gold and painted our rims to match. We've got the big fat torque twister 2s on the back, and check them out because they are just awesome. So we've done some out there things already with our color combination. On this episode we will drop in and out putting some more black components on the motor, but I think our main focus will be in the back here, which will be the wooden tray. So if you see on the other episode, a couple episodes back, we did all the framework for what we are going to do with the tray, and we picked up a couple of free wooden hardwood pallets over there. Out of those pallets there is enough, fingers crossed, enough wood to do our tray, our side runners. We're going to box in a little bit of this section down here. There should also be enough for our running boards, and there should also be enough to do the floor in there. But we probably won't do the floor because that's a whole nother kettle of fish. We got other stuff to do inside there first. But what I'd like to do, like I said, is get the tray done and the sideboards and get all the woodwork in the back done. So we have to get the wood off the pallet, cut it to our length, grind it all up how we want it, to age it. Then we're going to stain it, varnish it. Now we probably won't bolt these down because we need to get in here to access fuel tank, etc. But we can bolt our headache rack boards in. We can pretty much bolt our side rails in and our pieces down there. We should be able to do majority of that. So we've got a few different stains and varnishes to trial. So with all that said, let's get some tools out and start breaking down these pallets and de-nailing them. Alrighty, so there is that first pallet all broken down, and we de-nailed all of these runners. Basically, we got to cut them in half, and they pretty much fit. So we had about 6 to 8 inches we had to trim out of each length, so that's perfect. So that one pallet, we're not even all the way through it yet. I'm pretty sure we have 4 more lengths, and there is enough here to do this back section of the tray. Now what we do have to do is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lengths did this, but what we do, and they will work perfectly from edge to edge, we just have to notch, which I was always planning on doing, these little uprights out so that this edge lines up with the outside edge of the chassis. Do the same on the other side, and then the width should be pretty much spot on perfect. So that was, I can't say that was deliberate, but that is good. So that will be that section done. So we've got 4 complete lengths left. So once we've got these notched, we'll then probably do our side. Actually, I think once we've got these notched, we will probably do our headboard runners first, and then we'll look at doing our sides. Once it's all cut and shaped, then we'll go through with the grinder and sand it all with the flat disc, sand it, gouge it, age it, etc. Then this section, like I've said, will not be getting bolted down, but what we do have to do with this section is I want to put my logo in here as we've been doing it. So we have to probably come up with something just to hold these in nice and firmly so that they're not going to wander around on us when we're trying to do our logo. So we may actually throw one screw down in the one end temporarily to hold them all tight so we can do our logo in the center. So if you haven't seen us do that, what we'll do is we'll get our template for our logo, we'll mist a bit of paint down, we'll then die grinder the logo into the wood, burn it with a little blow torch type thingy, and then we will sand it all the top section back down. Then when we varnish it, the logo is in, like, burnt in. It looks really nice. It's on our other 2 builds, so we're going to do that on the tray of this. I think that will look pretty trick. Let's talk more action. Oakley to Oakley. As you can see down here, we'll get up nice and close. We've done some tests for some different stains I have now. I will go and see if I can dig anything else out. But what we have here is, this is briar smoke. So this side here I've wiped it back pretty thin, and this side is quite heavy. This here is walnut, which is, I'm not actually really liking the briar smoke. We've got a ton of these. We've got a ton of the walnuts, I'm pretty sure. But I'll check exactly how much I've got. We need to have enough. I think I like the walnut. It's not bad. And then here, that's just this stuff. Special Effect Metallic Varnish Copper. So that's just that. Now that obviously has to set and dry, and we'll see what that looks like tomorrow morning. And we've put a bit of this on each of the 3 things to see what it looks like. We've got this clear satin, just standard varnish, because I don't think I have enough marine spar to do the whole thing from start to finish. So, but I've got a heap of these tins, so we'll see what we think of the satin, but we will at least put a coat or 2 of the satin on, and if we don't like the satin, we will then hit it with a top coat of the marine spar high gloss varnish, because as you probably know, the first coat or 2 suck into the wood pretty hardcore. So I think we've only got 2 or 3 litres of the marine spar left, unless I've got some more stashed. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% on the briar smoke. I don't mind the walnut. I think that might look all right. Now we do have the red oak, which is what we've used on these, but I was just looking for something a bit different, looking for a slightly different colour. Now the walnut's very similar, I suppose, but I thought we had something else as well, but I'll see what else I have in there. I think I've got something else. But any rate, we put the old original piece of timber we've got on the back now, bolted on, and as you can see, we actually raised it so it's just ever so slightly above these, and we've left it 1 inch wider because we're going to run a piece along there. It's very good. We've got all of our floor, it's all been notched and flap disced down, so that is all basically ready for staining, but we've got to do our logo in the center first, and we've done our bottom one is all sanded on our, we'll call that our headache rack. Our second one's cut. Okay, before I went in, I just went and checked, and we found a couple of more. So this here is carbon grey stain, carbon grey. We don't really like that one, I don't think, at all. It's not my cup of tea, not for this build. Anyway, we'll see what it looks like tomorrow, but yes, I think that one is off the cards completely. The briar smoke is looking better and better as it dries, but it's still not a favourite. This one is called Traditional Cherry. So this one isn't bad. Very similar, I suppose, to the walnut. It's just probably a bit reddisher than the walnut. Now, so my favourite is the walnut at the moment, because what it is I'm trying to get away from the red tone of the other 2 builds. They both got this reddish. Well, it's red oak. We've got this reddish wood. I was sort of thinking more of a bit of a blondie type wood. And if we can see the chairs over here, just have a look. There's little matey. He's ready to go in. If we have a quick look at these little chairs, so that's about as close as we're going to get. I don't know what that is, but you know, we can always sand and stain the chairs, but you know, come on. But I was thinking more on this build of more of a blondie, not blonde, but I don't know, maybe just not as dark a wood. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, going inside now, I've had enough, and I will see you in the morning. Okay, we are back. We've been busy. So here is our tray. All the wood is done, ground up, beautiful. Same with the back bit, and we gave that a sand. These are the 4 timbers for our headache rack, all cut to size and sanded up, ready to go. And that is one side, and that is the other side up the top here. Now, we have not done our timbers for the bottom section, as we can't do them yet. We'll explain that a bit later, but it's all to do with the guards, the way the guards are mounted and everything. So that we sort of have to do all of that when I do the guards, which we will do later. Now, we have our sample pieces dried. Briar smokes, cherry, carbon, just the copper varnish and the walnut. And I think I like the walnut. And if we look at the copper varnishes on the walnut, it actually looks pretty good, but I think it is not really showing any grain. As you can see it on there. So I don't mind it, but it's not really showing us any grain. So don't really want it to just look like the wood's been painted. So I think we are just going to go with the walnut. It's not my exactly what I wanted. Walnut with the clear satin varnish, and we'll see what that looks like. And if we want it shinier, we'll put one coat of marine spar on the top. I kind of want it to be more like the seats, which is a bit like a honey brown. I'm not sure what sort of wood it is, but wouldn't really work. Now we tried some oils as well with a test piece, didn't really do much for me. So the wood's a bit whitish blonde. I don't actually know what sort of wood it is. It is a hardwood, but I don't really know what it is, to tell you the truth. So yes, I didn't like the oils, too blonde. Everything else is a bit dark, so oh yeah, whatever. We're going to go with walnut because we're not going to buy anything. So plan is now we're going to screw down all the floor with just some Tech screws, and then we got all bolts here that need to be trimmed and stuff. But then we're going to bolt our sides and our headache rack up quickly so that it's all bolted, fixed, all the holes drilled, all ready to go. We will then look at doing the logo, I think. So let's get that done. So like I said, all of these bolts, these are for the sides. They're all too long. They all need to be trimmed. And we have actually domed nuts for the sides. And these are for the headache rack. We have nylocks for them. So stop talking and let's do some work. Oakley, Dokley, right, as you can see, well, you probably can't see, but it is dark, so we're going to have to go off of the torcheroonie. So we've put 3 on the headache board at this stage, but we will probably put another one, but I've held off because I'm humming and hawing. I may put a thick one up there that will cover this whole gap the whole way to the top, so I'm humming and hawing about that. And plus I thought I'd see what it looks like with the 3 sides on before we get too carried away. And we've got 2 of the sides over here done. Should be able to saw to see what's going on. Then our drill decided it wasn't going to work, so we had to rewire, cut the lead off the drill and put a new lead on. So there we go. Anyway, that's going to do us tonight. So that second one over there has 1 more bolt to put in it. And if you've seen what I've got the little dome headed nuts and the Allen key round headed out there. I think they're working a treat. We had to cut them all down, as you've seen. I've cut enough for the sides all down, and yeah, so far so goodly. I think it's looking pretty good. Drop your comments of what you're thinking so far. So that would be something I'd like you guys to do, would be to let me know what you guys, how long videos you like, whether you like the 40-minute to an hour ones, or whether you prefer they're pretty hard to do them in 15, but more like 20 minutes to half hour, and we do a bit less, and we just do a little short, sharp videos, or if you don't mind, the longer ones that we do, the 40-minute plus, because now, in saying that, that doesn't mean I'm going to do a 40-minute, hour-long videos with a heap of waffle. It just means that, would you rather see a bit more get done? So what I try to do is I try to finish a task in each video, instead of just, right, let's go spend 3 days in the shed. So generally it's a week's work is what I do down here. Drop your comments, give us some feedback of what you guys like to see. And I just want you to look at something. This is how humid it's been. This is mold. This is mold on my beautiful interior. And that was all leather conditioned. So I'm going to have to get onto that real quick, aren't we? Anyways, we've got to get little mate inside, and it looks like all the crazies are going to be out, because if you can look over there, let's zoom you, because it is a beautiful, right there in the center of your screen. Well, that's the moon. Welcome back. It is the next morning. As you can see, we've quickly got that bolted on. Now, I was sitting out here this morning and I looked over at this little piece here, and now that's had a little piece of inox when I drilled drop down on it, and that is the color that I want. So I started thinking about it and went, let's just have a look at one of these oils again. So I went and grabbed the dark walnut out and really shook it up. Now I think maybe I didn't shake the can properly, so I really shook the dark walnut up and gave it a quick coat. Now that's one coat. Now of course the oil is going to take several coats. The more coats you give it, because it's just going to keep sucking in. But eventually it says, especially using the Danish oil, it has a polyester, polyurethane or whatever in it, which dries hard and will eventually give it more and more of a satin gloss type finish on the end. The more coats you give it, the more of a sheen it will get. But when you now come over here, we are much closer, and when I first put it on, it was nearly on the money. So I think I'm changing my plan, and I think instead of running the stain and the varnish, I think we are going to oil it. And at the end of the day, if we don't like it, we can always varnish over the top, I think, of the oil. I'm not 100% on that, but I think that's kind of the colour I want. I wanted it, now this will get changed a bit. Now this is a bit rough, this isn't sounded as nice as these, but I kind of think that's the colour timber I was thinking about. Like I said, something a bit blonder, I think matches in with our colours better. So our running boards, I think that's the colour we want in our floorboards. So at any rate, that's what I think I'm going to do, is this one. I think I'm going to oil it, which means that basically we don't have to pull it apart again. So what that also means is that our headache rack nuts, bolts, have to come back out, because I'd like to put a washer. So we need to quickly undo those three and those three, put washers on, do them back up. And now we'll do everything up nice and firmly, I think. And we'll do the other side. Then we'll get onto the logo. But there you can see the other side. Hopefully we are liking the look. I haven't even really looked at it properly myself. Hopefully we're liking the look of that. And I think we'll put the other run on the top. At any rate, hopefully we are liking the look of this. Remembering, we probably won't get the full look until we get the guards, till we get these bits wooded in and our running boards on, I would say, before we get the real look. And then sit this cab on the ground nice and low should really then give it the proper look we want. But I think it looks okay. Any rate, let's get back to work. Oakley, D.I. Oakley. So, there it is in the background. It's getting there, isn't it? So, if you are seeing what I'm seeing, the very top runner there, boom. The very top runner there, I did a fat one. I think that looked pretty trick. We did grind up a normal size one, but we were left with the little gap at the top of the uprights, and I wasn't quite sure about them. So, a fat one, thickness that way, worked out, pretty much filled those uprights. Now I think it looked better with a board there, and I think the fat board was the best looking. But have a look at that rear shot. Have a look at the size of those wheels. It actually looks pretty trick. Now this bottom, the back light board, as per se, I'm humming and hawing about running another one, whether it's another thick one or a thin one underneath it. Now I can just mount in to those little pieces there and there that I boxed in, and just have a mount there and there, and maybe even put a little brace between the two, or weld a little brace in the center down to pick up another bolt. But I'm humming and hawing around running another one, and then maybe having them curved, having the so it comes down and then curves, comes along straight and curves back up, just to fill a bit more of that gap in underneath. I'm not quite sure, but I think, you know, that would get rid of a bit of that leaf spring view, and may look better. Not sure, so we won't do that yet. We'll hum and haw and think about that one. We might wait until we've lowered the truck and see what it looks like once it's lowered. But that's pretty much the tray. We've got to, like I've said 100 times, we've got to do our emblem, which is our next step. Then we're going to oil it, and we've also got to do our side pieces. Now, here's something. So today is Australia Day. So for all the Aussies, happy Australia Day. So, but there's a big, for the Americans probably don't know, because you're very patriotic and just would not put up with this, but there is a whole heap of people trying to change Australia Day to a different day or whatever, because the Indigenous reckon it's Invasion Day or whatever. It's when basically the 26th of January is when the Captain Cook, I'm pretty sure it was, on the boat from England landed in Australia. Okay, so they want to change Australia Day. Everyone wants to do it. They're all the wokers want to change Australia Day. They're missing the point. Australia Day is not about celebrating that. Australia Day is about celebrating Australia as a country, of what we stand for, of what we do, which is slowly disappearing. And Australia is not what Australia was, and everything Australia stood for is disappearing at a huge rate. So I don't normally do this, but I'm just, honestly, I am, what's the word I'm looking for, kind of a bit disillusioned with my country and where it's heading to. And some of you will know is that I actually want to go and live in America now, because I don't like where we have gone and where we are going as a country. So anyway, for all you idiots that are destroying this country, wake up to yourselves, because today is Australia Day, and it should always be. So anyway, to the Roo Aussies, happy Australia Day. Anyway, with all of that said, I am going into town because I'm going to get myself a vanilla thick shake. Check that out, hey? A few years ago, I would have been going and having 200 beers, but now I'm going to get a vanilla thick shake, and then we're getting back to work. Oakley dokley, we are back, and I don't know what we've seen because the camera went flat. But this is what we did. Oh yeah, baby. Check it out. So we grinded in our logo, as you would have seen. Then we burnt it in with the blowtorchy type thing, map gas. What I did on this one is then I flap disc it off, but I just went very ever so light on the flap disking of it off and left a little bit of this, and I actually liked the look of it. And then so I ran with that, and this is how you make stuff amazing, is you adapt and run on the fly. So then I used the gas torch, which something you've probably seen it done before, but I don't know how it works. But yes, we ran the gas torch over, and it actually burns into, and it burns the grain and makes the grain pop, and I honestly think it looks absolutely amazing. So we've done the whole way around. We've done the backboard. We did everything in the end. So now our logo is a little bit not so standoutish. It's a little bit hidden, so you won't notice it until you get up onto the car, onto the tray so much. But I know we're very hard to see because we're cramped in here. But if we step back a little bit, it looks pretty trick, I think. So now I'm going to throw some oil on it. We'll go from there. I think, like I said, we'll do the side bits after that, and we'll have to burn them in. But I think we need to see what this looks like with some oil on it now. Oakley dokley, if you are a wood person, you may want to fast forward a little bit because I have done everything that you would detest. So what we have done here is, I don't know what you think about this. This is not really what I was imagining to start with, but it is pretty close to our seat colour, so it's probably just a touch darker than what I sort of wanted, but this is not how I was planning on achieving it. So it is quite like dingy, and I don't know, I really like it. I think it looks really cool. Now it's very hard for me to video it and not get in the shape, but there you can see it's got that honey brown look that I wanted. It is very, very similar in the end to the colour I wanted. I've moved it forward so you could see. But the way we got there, wood people are going to cringe. So what I did was, you seen we were last putting the oil on it, which was the walnut, Scandinavian walnut oil. Yes? Yes. So after reading what it said just throw that stuff on, just let it eat it. You know, just give it to it. So, and the wood was just sucking it in like there's no tomorrow. And I just went, this is going to be painful if I have to give this 400 coats of this oil, and it's not going to give me a shine at all. So I wasn't overly impressed with it. So we gave it the full coat, but what it did do is it gave us this beautiful colour. So I was happy to keep running the oil because it gave us this colour. So you would have seen we did the burny trick, yes, but yes, then the oil's given it this gorgeous little colour. Then what we did is, after oiling it, I read the oil and it said you can put a polyurethane on it. So I don't actually know if what I put on was polyurethane, but to me that means I can varnish it, doesn't it? Drop your comments and tell me if I don't really know. I'm a welder, All right, I'm not the paint guru. I may have a paint system and all of this, but I'm not a paint guru. I'm a welder, so I don't know. But it said you can polyurethane, use polyurethane, but you're meant to let it dry for 72 hours. Well, we let it dry for about 7.2 minutes. And then we hit it with a coat of the clear satin, this exterior varnish clear satin, I don't know. Whatever. Is it a polyurethane? I have no idea. So we used 1.5 tins of that, and as you can see, it is still drying. But now the dilemma is, it's a satin, so it's drying like this, satin, of course. But if you look in here, where it's still glossy, when it's wet, it's glossy, it shows us what it would look like with the marine spar on the top. So now the question is, do I leave the satin finish, or do I hit it with the gloss? Because the gloss really looks pretty cool. You must admit it does look pretty good. So we do have this cab clear coated, remembering. So do we want to have shiny, or do we want the satin to pop for the brake? Are you following what I'm saying? Do we want the wood shiny as well as the cab, or do we just want to keep the wood satin? So I'm going to think about that tonight. We'll see what it looks like tomorrow when it's all dried. But I'm liking it. I am liking it. Now I'm trying to get in a spot so you can see it decently. So there we go. So we'll push it out when we finish. We'll push it out. But I'm thinking that is looking pretty groovy. Now, remembering, we've got to do all this technique again. So we had to take note of what we did when we do our running boards. We'll have the exact same technique. And we have some wood going on the interior. That will have the exact same technique, as well as our bit of wood along the side there. I don't know. Drop your comments. Drop your comments now what you think. Okay-ly, dokay-ly. So, it is the next day. It is after lunch, I suppose. We've got a bit done. I did it off camera. So, I don't know how well the camera is showing this up, but it looks amazing. I am actually really chuffed with how this has turned out. Now, you should be able to tell, though, in the center section, how that has a bit more of a gloss, and you'll see little gloss patches here and there all throughout it. Now, it is dry to the touch, even on those gloss areas. So I think that is the clear satin. When it saturates enough, it goes to that gloss. I don't think it's just that it's wet. So I'm humming and hawing about what to do. Obviously, if that's how it stays patchy, it's no good to us. So we've either got to give it another coat. Excuse me, I've got all sword after my eye. Either another coat of the clear satin to get it to so it's all like this, or do we quickly give it a hit of the marine spar? I'm in two minds. I actually don't mind this look. I really don't mind this look at all. So but yeah, I don't like the patchiness about it. So I don't know. I'll think about that. But I'll show you what else I have done this morning. So down the back here, we've put a single board on the back there, and I think that, and we angle cut it. I think that looks a lot better if we come back, and you can get a bit better look from back here. I think that's a bit better now with that down a bit lower. I think that cleans it up a whole lot better. And then we'll come to the sides. So this is what we've done. We've got one in the back, and we've got these two, and that one notched around the chassis at there, and they're just cut approximately around 2 inches off the wheel, because our guard will come something like this. So hopefully that all works. Now they're just tech screwed on at the moment, because they got to come off, because we've got to treat them. And here's the other side. So they're notched around the back, around the suspension, all ground, sanded, ready to go. Now our running boards will be along here, they will run along there, so we will have to do, probably have to do something in this area later, and maybe even a little baby one going up. So we may have to weld a little bracket behind this, like this, a little L-shaped bracket for argument's sake, that will join into the running boards, but we'll address that when we actually make the running boards. And we'll have a look at this little area here, and we'll do, I think we'll actually put a nice little piece of wood in there, and maybe a little tiny vertical, so that it finishes that area off quite nicely. And I think we'll just have this exposed. I think that will look pretty trick. So that's how we are doing that. So I am not going to show you the guards at all. You're going to have to wait till the next episode to see what we are going to do there. I do have them, and I've sort of dry fitted them. But anyway, how nice. I actually think it actually looks amazing. It's probably looking a bit darker in the camera than it does in the flesh, but the grain, I'm actually really happy I did that. I'm very, very happy that I did that. Any rate, let's unscrew all these timbers and get them done. Well, there we go. That's had a coat now of the clear satin. We didn't do the high gloss, so we'll see how that dries up. I actually mind it as it is now, but I think it's going to suck a bit in, but we'll see. It may need one more coat. We'll see what it's like. We may still give it a coat of the marine spar, but feast your eyes on this. Drop your comments on this, guys. This is I'm pretty wrapped with how this has turned out. I think it looks really, 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 really good, and it's free. Well, if you want to get technical, there's probably 20 bucks worth of bolts, but I actually had them in my little bolt rack, but there's probably 20 bucks worth of bolts. All the metal was free, remember, all the wood's free. The varnish we had, you know, this is free. This is a free tray, and looks pretty good to me. All right, guys, just to put this into perspective, we went from this to this, hey, in 2 days. So I'm saying it's a free, dirty old stinking pallet, and we turned it into this over a weekend. Come on now. Can you just understand where I come from now? You don't have to go spend $2,000 and $3,000 and $4,000 on your tray. What for? We've done that with a pallet all we've used is a grinder with a worn out flap disc, a metal flap disc on a grinder, no sanding, nothing, just a flap disc on a grinder. We used a die grinder for our logo, and we made that. Come on now. So there's our logo. Oh, come on, guys. That's sensational. Hey, that is sensational. Drop your comments on this. Like I said, tell me what you think. As you can see, this is my third shirt today. It is 40 degrees and so humid. But how cool is this little... Now we're calling it the Hot Wheels truck, Hot Wheels Bedford, because I think we're going to enter it in next year's Hot Wheels build thing. Okay, I think that's the plan, is I'm going to enter this because it's going to look pretty cool. So I'm humming and hawing. I'm thinking of leaving the back height as is, but I'm thinking we're going to slam the front. We're going to drop 2 inches out of the front, and we're going to get it. We're going to put full Hot Wheels stagger in it, hijacker in the back, is what I'm thinking. So I'm pretty happy with the back, how it sits. And like remembering, the front's only a couple inches longer. This thing's gonna look so cool. So cool. So, before we go, I'm gonna show you one quick thing. Before we do that, let's have a look at it from this side. This thing is just awesome. Absolutely awesome. I'm actually pretty chuffed with this. Now, I like all my cars, all my builds I'm doing, but I don't know, there's something about this one. This is going to be the cheapest, and this one is slowly turning in to my favourite. Now here, have a look here. So this is a stainless steel truck guard. We bought 2, but being cherry tight ass, I chopped it in half, dead in half, it fits. So that is going to be our guard. So that's the plan. We got these for free off the scrappy. We worked a deal out, and they're going to be our guards. So you're going to have to see how we mount them, what they look like. I'm not even going to show you what they look like. We're going to have to do some dolly work on them because the curvature is not quite right. And then we're going to bring the running boards in. Now we may put another piece of timber down there later, not sure. Fill another piece of that gap in to match the front. We'll have a look later on once we've got the guards done. So we've got guards, running boards. So I don't know if we're going to do that in the next one, or if we're going to jump in here and get a bit of the inside done. So that's something to keep your eyes out on for. And realistically, how can you not come back at this? This car is off its head. So with all that said, I'll say thank you for watching, and we will see you next week.